Welcome back to It's a Vase Productions, where I know it's been 3 weeks since the last reaction to Still Game. So I'm not going to waste any more time. Remember, you got to go over to Dailymotion to watch it, so I'll give you time to pause now. Go over and do that. All right, and unpause because we're back having just watched the episode, and I had a lot of fun with that. Winston with the pub, I just remember that because you could see the reflection of like pub in his glasses when he was looking over at the other side. I knew as soon as I saw a pub there, I was like, he's just gonna go in there and he's not gonna, yeah. But the addition of the woman that was there, and then the fact that he never ended up coming back and fell down that hill. I tripped over something. It's Winston's leg. I saw that coming. I didn't know he was going to be on the hill as well. That was great. When Isa already knew what was happening, but had them all figure it out, that was funny. But then when they go into Naveed's, he's like, Isa, you piece of crap. And then when she's also like, be subtle, and then it cuts to them like doing the caravan dance. I love that. I love that. And I gotta tell you, just from like, I've been watching She-Hulk, which is supposed to be a comedy, but I haven't found it that funny because I do MCU Mondays, so I review Marvel shows and talk about Marvel stuff every Monday night. So I've been watching She-Hulk. I didn't like it. My co-host did. I didn't. I'm watching this show and I'm like, okay, see, this is what a comedy does. I'm laughing. I'm laughing out loud. I'm enjoying myself. They're setting things up. And I don't think I ever laughed out loud at like She-Hulk. There were some points where maybe I was like, I get the joke, but like this show makes me laugh. Always Sunny in Philadelphia makes me laugh. That's how I determine if a show is a good comedy show or not. Am I like laughing out loud? This show is one of my absolute favorites. It's got to be in the top 5, if not like the top 2 at this point, because I just respect it so much. And even in this, I'm watching like the things that I appreciate go farther than just the comedy. I really liked what they were doing with Jack telling his story, because I liked in the earlier seasons when they would do that and actually get serious and stay serious. In this one, though, it did set him up for a really good joke with Winston. Like, I did not see that coming at all. I forgot that the episode was called South Africa. So, like, it came back, South Africa. I was like, okay, that's why they named the episode South Africa. So, like, that was all a good setup and good fun. But I was really hoping that at least in the after the credits or whatever, we'd get to know what was on that note, because I'm emotionally invested in these characters and I wanted to hear like what was in the envelope, what was on the note. If anybody knows if that was ever, did they ever like reveal that in a behind the scenes thing, or is that just, it was just a joke and it was never explained? Because now I want to know. But, I totally called it with the Coke bottles, too, because they've rolled down the hill, and then they get into the place, and it's, like, white upholstery, white walls. I'm just like, oh, dude, those things are going to explode. I also called that opening the window would lead to something catastrophic, but that never panned out, so 1 out of my 2 guesses were correct. But also, that's something that I respect about this show, is that they set it up. Like, they had a joke involving those Coke bottles. It could have just ended there. Like, it's funny to watch Winston have to chase something down a hill. But the fact that then they've set, that's like Chekhov's gun. And Chekhov's gun is the movie idea or writing even. But if there's a gun on the wall in like the first act, it needs to be used by the third act. Like, you're setting something up. There's a reason, like, why bother showing it if it's not going to end up being used? Shaun of the Dead is a great example of this. They literally have a gun up on the wall that they mention at the beginning of the movie, and it's used at the end. The same theory applies to these Coke bottles. They're set up in the beginning or, middle of the episode, and then utilized by the end. And another thing I loved about that was when the Coke bottles were flying around the room, they had shots from like inside the bottle. I thought that was a great touch, just like their faces, like as the bottles are coming towards them. Like that's fun, that's funny, that's a great use of like different camera work and camera ways of using a camera that just make things more fun, more enjoyable, a little bit more random. Like you didn't have anything like that type of comedy in She-Hulk. Well, you didn't have like a lot of comedy in She-Hulk. I don't know. I wasn't a fan of that, but definitely a fan of this. It's great. It's always great to come back to this show, but I always have the feeling that like one of the reasons that I've slowed down so much is because I don't want it to end, and I know that that's rapidly approaching. But at the same time, I know you guys have invested time in watching me watch it, and I want to give back to you. So I hope I'm not jinxing myself, because every time I say this, it's like a month before I do another one, but I'm trying to do better with that. I promise. So hopefully we'll have another one within the next couple days. I should be able to do that, and I want to try and keep that going until we get to the end of this series, because in general I want to be putting out more videos on my YouTube channel. So it's just been crazy times recently, man. Crazy times. But I appreciate your patience. I appreciate everyone that's subscribed, and everyone that's watching the Still Game, and everyone that's watching the other stuff that I do. I really appreciate that. Because it means a lot to me that some of you guys, I know you're not here for it, but you support me on some of my other videos, and that just means a lot to me. And I want to say thanks. And after we're done Still Game, I've got tons and tons of other reactions to get to. But as far as reactions go, Still Game is still my first priority. So I want to get that completed. All right? So looking forward to it, of course. I want to hear your thoughts on the episode, so don't forget to tell me in the comments below. If you haven't, like and subscribe, because that helps me. And see you next time.